In this video, we're going to be learning about how we can take variables and place them inside of our strings. So I've gotten a few variables set up so that we can practice this. I have the day, the month, and the temperature. And notice the month is a string variable, what we just learned in our last video. So let's say I want to print out a string about today and what the temperature is. I'm going to say print with some parentheses and put a double quote inside of there so that I can create a string. And I'm going to say something like, today is October 21st, and it's 65 degrees outside. Okay, so with this information, if I go ahead and run our code, you can see that string that we created, today is October 21st, and it's 65 degrees outside, is displayed. That's great. But let's say we wanted the string to actually represent the different pieces of information we had inside of our variables. So if the day changed to the 25th and we run our code, it still says October 21st. It will always say October 21st. What if we change the temperature to something really cold like -15? It's still going to display 65 degrees outside. So the question is, how do we make it so that this string that we are printing represents the values that we have inside of those variables? Well, what we can do is use something called an F string. So in Python, at the beginning of your string, right before your first double or single quote, you're going to just put a lowercase letter f, just like this. So even before we do anything else, I want you to see here that if we run our code, everything still works. I know it seems strange. Oh, you just put the letter F and it's still valid? Yes, it is, because when you have that F, it means that now you can place variables inside of your string. So for example, where we have the date, where it currently says 21, I'm going to delete this and put in some curly brackets. And inside of those curly brackets, I'm going to put the variable day. So now that I have that there, I'm going to run our code. And look what we get outputted in the console. Today is October 25th, and it's 65 degrees outside. So it followed whatever day was. If I change day to the 3rd and I hit run here, now it says today is October 3rd. How cool is that? So let's keep this going. Let's say instead of October, we're going to replace this with curly brackets, and we're going to put the month variable in there. And the same thing with the degrees. Instead of 65, we're going to replace that and say that this should be the temp. So now that we have this and we run, it now says today is October 3rd and it's -15 degrees outside. Let's change our month to September. And when we run, it says today is September 3rd and it's -15 degrees outside. Great. So what's so cool about this is we can represent all different types of variables inside of here. Not only can we represent integers, we can also represent strings. And if we had any floats, those would work as well. Now, one thing that I want you to notice about REPL here, and a lot of different code editors will have this, but it's really nice to see that, for example, strings are represented in red and numbers are represented in green. And you can see that prints are purple, the equal sign is blue, and as you code more and more, you'll notice that this will help you. If we look inside of our F string, you can see anywhere that we used variables, that was black instead of the usual red text that you see with the string. And so it's these little tiny details that will really help us as we're coding. So to make sure that you've got a good grasp on this, let's go ahead and introduce our challenge. What I would like you to do is make a variable called day name and set it to the day of the week, like Tuesday, and add it to the string that we've created above and are printing to the console, okay? So basically, I want you to expand our example a little bit to, instead of just saying today is September 3rd, make it say today is Tuesday, September 3rd, and have that in a variable so that we can change it over time. Hit pause, do that now. All right, hopefully this went well for you. I want to take this time to mention that anytime in Python you're going to have a variable that has more than one word in it, for example, day name, it's usually not a great idea to just say, day name is equal to Tuesday. That makes it a little bit hard to read. Typically in Python, we like to put an underscore between the two words so that it's a lot easier to read. We can say, oh, this is the day name. Again, you don't have to, but it's a good practice to get used to. So with this day name, we're going to update our string here that we're printing to say today is, and we want to say something like Tuesday. But again, because we have the F string, we're going to say we want to print out whatever is inside of day name. All right, let's go ahead and test it out. Today is Tuesday, September 3rd, and it's 15 degrees outside. Excellent.